It might look like a Formula 1 car. It might sound like a Formula 1 car. It might be one of the most accurate simulations of all the rules, regulations, components and dynamics of a 2019 Formula 1 car. But it's not a Formula 1 car. This is Race Sim Studios Formula Hybrid, and we're going to be checking it out in this video for a quick little silly sprint race. This video is sponsored by Antline Audio's Mod Mic Wireless. The Mod Mic Wireless features low latency, lag-free capture, full 16-bit 48kHz sound quality, dual mic modes, and 12 hours of battery with charge in use functionality. I've been using Mod Mics for over a year now. They sound great, and they let me use my non-gaming headphones as gaming headphones. You can check out the Mod Mic website by clicking on the Mod Mic link in the description. We're ready and we're at the grid. The car is prepped. The crew have gone back into the pit box and everyone's crying because they know we're about to get a tyre in the face. Why do they know that? Because we've taken the halo off to experience the full Formula experience of a tyre hitting us in the forehead, deflected off the forehead and landing in the crowd. That is entertainment. Now, before we get going, I'm going to admit something. We've driven this car already whilst live streaming. We had a really fun race with it. It's a bloody good car. You should just go and get it. Don't watch this video. Just go and get the car now. I've ruined the video already. There's all the suspension's gone. You've got no motivation to watch it now. I'm absolutely useless at YouTube. But that doesn't matter. We're going to continue anyway. So halo's off and we'll start talking and driving. Now, so, first things first, this is a pay for mod. So you do have to pay for it. That's what that means. But, as it is with RSS, I have to say every car they make is really worth getting. Like, though it is a pay-for mod, you do see that quality in the end mod. The murder! Sorry. You just look at the cockpit in this. All the polygon detail, all the texture detail, how crisp and sharp everything is. The wheel, it looks glorious. It's just super, super spot on. And this is just in 2D. If you play cars like this in VR and you look at the cockpits, it's mind-blowing. You can also see from the cars driving around us, you know, they look absolutely superb as well. Really high-quality models. Everything where it should be. Everything that you'd expect in what is not a F1 2019 car. This is a Formula Hybrid car. Knit through there. Now you'll also notice that the steering wheel in the car is the same as... it's the same wheel that you can actually buy as one of the really high-end sim racing custom wheel rims that's on the market. If you happen to have lots of money that you can afford to burn on sim racing equipment. So... if you are lucky and you've got that wheel and you've got this mod, you can experience it truly one-to-one. But yeah, the details and just the attention to detail and all the little goings-on visually with this car are really, really nice. And you also notice we've got a full grid here with AI. Bloody hell. Calm down, Boris. Got a full grid here with AI and it's running pretty smooth. We're getting 93 FPS. So I think they've also done a. It would appear like they've done a good job with LODs, or at least having the models run at a decent frame rate clip with a lot of them on the screen. So those of you that drive single player, that's really nice. Let's go through this DRS. Now, of course, this is a modern Formula car. Not at all based on 2019 Formula 1. That would be ridiculous. As I say, we don't want anyone getting sued. And as a result of it being a modern Formula 1 car, you have the DRS, KERS and all the electronics crazy gubbins that, personally, I really don't care for in Formula cars. Well, that's a lie, actually. I really like the F2004 car in Assetto. And I really like 2004. Whoa, what line is he taking? I really like the sort of 2000s Formula 1 cars, the early 2000s. But they're crucially, with those cars, the driver doesn't have to be doing as much managing. The car's just doing it all, and then the driver focuses on absolutely slamming it around the track with his steering wheel and pedal inputs. It's less programming and more driving. That said, despite my dislike of having to fiddle with buttons and poop things and, you know, despite that, this car is still absolutely fantastic to drive. And the underlying physics of this vehicle and how it's been implemented, it just feels very direct, very intuitive. It doesn't... You pretty much, if you're losing control of the car, it's very obviously it's your fault, you've done something wrong. There's no, like, wildly out of control aspect of the vehicle with the default setup that's there at the moment. I'm not really fiddled with the setups. So, to me, that's normally a really good sign of a car fundamentally being realistic. And even if it's not fundamentally realistic, it's fundamentally fun. And I was really surprised when we started streaming this car and just driving it and how it handled, how much I was enjoying it. Because as I say, it's not the type of vehicle I normally enjoy. Now, the biggest character of the physics that really stands out is the fact that this car actually has a very different dynamic to it from other Formula vehicles that you might have driven in Assetto, different spec Formula cars. With the modern F1, not F1, sorry, with the modern 2019 top-end Formula cars, there's a sort of nature to them where they are pretty much just glued to the circuit and very sort of train-like in the on-rails grip they've got. But normally, again, that would normally be a bad thing, but because so many of the other cars are actually a lot more loose and a lot more dynamic, this just... You end up having that as a interesting character difference that then provides an interesting and unique challenge. And despite this car... Whoa, he's got on the inside. Bit of sausage rim. Despite this car pretty much being on rails with a safe setup, even then, when you actually start pushing it and trying to get more out of it, you do find that the car then starts to slide a bit and you can work with it on the throttle and start deciding how much you're going to risk it on the throttle or how much you're going to risk it on the brakes with really pushing it to the limit. And the limit on this car is ridiculously narrow. So it's brutally punishing once you get up to speed. I mean, I'm just tootling at the moment. But again, it's punishing in a very satisfying way. It's kind of like going to a... It's like a... No, we won't make that analogy. Children might be watching. PG, guys. But yes, it's brutal, but fantastic. Let's get up through the gears here. You will need to bind a KERS button and a DRS button. I'm not really using them properly here if you want to get your use out of this. I've not fiddled around with it to see if we've got like the ability to auto map things. We might be able to sort that out. We've literally only done one race in this, so I'm still getting used to the basic aspects of the car. For me, I like to just get the default setup, turn a bunch of laps, do a bunch of races with it, get familiar with it before I start fiddling with stuff, because I'm not a very good driver and I would just fiddle in a way that's detrimental. But, I mean, outside of the handling, which is superb, listen to the audio. It captures the completely terrible, dull, atrocious sound of modern... No, not Formula 1. Of modern Formula cars. And it captures it beautifully. Now, joking aside, you know, modern F1 cars don't sound... Oh, you know, they don't sound very good, do they? Let's be real. But, despite that, the actual onboard cockpit sound of this is super immersive. It sounds really rich. It actually does sound nuanced and deep. You can hear that, the high-pitched whine, that hissy sound. The downshift sound, despite the engine note not being completely arousing, the downshift sound and the immediacy of the downshift, the way it sort of... I won't talk here. You can hear it when we'll do it when we get to the braking point. That little wobble and blip followed by the engine spinning up, or whatever noise it is. But you know, the sound of it is absolutely spot on. It's super crispy and goes hand in hand with the nature of the handling. Whoa! Too much gas. Calm down, Boris. 5 second. Great. So it goes hand in hand, this sound with the handling. Really, really immersive. You just might want to turn up the external volume of other cars. Just as I'm sure rear-wheel drivers probably do to some extent. Let's get around here. You do, as you notice there, you do have to be careful on the throttle coming out of tighter corners. You can just light up the rears and lose it quickly. And it lights up so fast that you really are going to struggle to catch it if you brick the foot like a farmer in his tractor on a wet day. Got to be careful. Fly through there. This is really contradictory to what I normally like with Formula cars. But I do actually still really like this. There we go. A little bit of a lift. We're all over the place there. A little bit of a slide. You really find with this car that you get into a sort of trance-like zone with it. I'd highly recommend, if you do get this car, to basically take it around any of the modern Formula 1 tracks. Or, you know, you've got circuits like Mugello, Spa, Silverstone, Nürburgring GP, and you know, any of those kind of circuits, this car really shines. And then you get into the flow of those tracks, and because it's got that top end speed, you don't die of old age before finishing a lap. Alright, sneak on past. But you know what's really funny with this? This car is so much better and so much more fun to drive, in part due to the RSS work that they've done, like the actual attention to detail that the modders have done with them obviously dialing things in spot on, but also the underlying Assetto Corsa physics. It's just so much better than anything Codemasters have put out with their Formula 1 games. I mean, obviously their game's a mass market game. It's a different audience. It's on console. It's a game. It's got other feature sets to it. You can't make a direct comparison between a sim and a sort of generalised mass market game. I understand that, but I mean, just imagine if you had something like the F1 game with all the tracks, all the licensed vehicles and everything, and imagine if all the cars in that handled like this. Just imagine that world, guys. That parallel universe. That's happening somewhere, because this is just so compelling at a fundamental level to drive. You could just slap this car on a track and just go at it, and you just get lost in the handling and the physics, and just lost in gradually improving your own lap time and your ability at driving the simulator. You don't need any of the other shiny stuff going on. You just need a nice quality track and a vehicle like this, and you're having a good time. So it's an absolutely superb car. Have I actually got you guys to go and get it yet? even if you hate Formula cars, guys, like I personally, as I say, I'm not a big fan of these types of cars. Even if you don't like them, this is well worth getting. I don't have an affiliate link with Race Sim Studio, which sounds like I do. I mean, just look at the car model, and you've got like tyre blankets and all these other details as well. It's beautiful, guys. A solitary tear is coming down my face from the beauty. Just look at it, guys. I've run out of words. Amazing. The big advantage of this as well is unlike Formula 1, this is going to get flagged, isn't it? We've said the word too many times. But unlike that, these are all the same specs. So when you're racing with people, it's all fair, and you can have good, close Formula 1 spec racing, which is like the dream. Imagine if you had a full Formula 1 grid of drivers in this car in real life, or, you know, all the same spec, and you would actually see who's the best. Anyway, that's another discussion for another time. I mean, hopefully we conveyed aspects of the car. We probably could have gone more in depth into it, Probably could have been a bit more artistry with it, but I just wanted a video out there to tell you guys to get this car. That's really what it's come to. We'll be live streaming it some more with some proper races, and probably do some full length racing with it. Maybe follow some of the F1 season races would be nice. Oh no, we can't do that. Copy license. I'm in jail now for that's it. Everyone's in jail for actually celebrating enjoyment of cars. There you go. Don't forget, guys. Don't forget. I'll put a link to this mod in the description. It is paid for. It's well worth it. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button. And yeah, happy sim racing. I look forward to seeing you guys in our next stream that we do, which is probably this evening. Take care, everyone. Take care and goodbye.